Browns got some unfortunate news this morning, that's putting it mildly, that Deshaun Watson is done for the year. They announced it today. He had the shoulder injury. I covered it on this show. Many others covered it on their shows. It was this weird, nagging shoulder injury where he would play. He threw 5 passes against the Colts, threw a pick, came out. He'd get cleared to play. I remember that game against the Ravens. He was cleared to play, but then didn't play. It was just an odd situation. The shoulder just kind of lingered until it got reported this morning that Deshaun Watson further re-aggravated the shoulder on Sunday against the Ravens, which, for the record, actually makes his 14 for 14 passing second half all the more impressive. And he will have surgery, season-ending surgery. And so he's done for the year. According to Kevin Stefanski, they're going to start Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the rookie from UCLA, against my Steelers on Sunday. So for Deshaun, listen, his off-field history is well documented. We know the legal situation. I'm not going to get into that. And he's obviously made himself a very polarizing figure in the National Football League. But obviously, you don't ever root for, at least I don't, injuries to anybody. So I do have sympathy in that regard for him. I don't have an ounce of sympathy for the Cleveland Browns. And it's not just because, I hate Cleveland, all that. No. I'm being dead serious here. I have no sympathy for the Browns. This is an organization that has always been desperate. It's an organization that spends money in the wrong places. It's an organization that drafts quarterbacks that nobody really wants, Johnny Manziel. And they took a Deshaun Watson. Now, people did want Deshaun Watson. The Falcons wanted him. The Dolphins, it's well documented. The Dolphins wanted him multiple times with or without the legal situation. But Cleveland was the team that gave up multiple first-round picks and gave him the richest guaranteed contract in the history of the National Football League. Of course they did. It's Cleveland. Were we surprised by this? Now, the good news for the Browns is that it's not like they're getting a massive drop-off in play from Deshaun to, if it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson the rest of the season, if they decide to go back to P.J. Walker, whatever their quarterback situation is. I heard somebody suggest today, hey, sign Colt McCoy. That's in the cards as well. But listen, the fact of the matter is that the Browns offense is last in the NFL in completion percentage, 25th in pass yards per game, 31st in touchdown to interception ratio, which for those of you that are curious what that is, it's an 8-12 TD to interception ratio. That's not good. And dead last in the NFL in passer rating. Dead last. And for the record, they're bottom 5 in the last 25 years among teams above 500. So basically against good teams, they can't throw the football. But for the Cleveland Browns, it's not just the fact that they gave up all those picks, which other teams may have done, and then gave Deshaun Watson the richest guaranteed contract ever, which I'm not sure anybody would have done. The owners were reportedly incensed about that. It's the fact that, of course, it was Cleveland who took the guy with the questionable off-field history, who got desperate, decided to move on from a guy in Baker Mayfield, who, folks, never been a Baker guy. He's playing very well this year, but Cleveland Browns fans, you take a Baker or Deshaun? A healthy Deshaun, even. I think that's pretty clear. But even this year, which is surprising, because what the Browns did this year, surprising because they actually did a good job of this a year ago, is the fact that Deshaun comes into the season, full off-season, training camp, right? He's used to the play. He's used to the system. He played the last 6 games of the season a year ago, ready to go. And the Browns did exactly what the New York Jets did. Jets traded for Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Aaron's here. Here we go. We're all good. Our offensive line isn't that good. We'll be fine. Yeah, we'll bring in Nathaniel Hackett, which they went a bridge too far and bring in Hackett. That's another conversation for another show. But they brought in Rodgers, and they didn't have a backup plan for an injury-prone older player. And you see how it's, you reap what you sow, as they say. And they're reaping that with Zach Wilson because they didn't get an upgrade at backup quarterback. They did not get a backup plan for Aaron Rodgers. The same can be said about the Cleveland Browns. Although one could argue what they did, because Deshaun, we know he has an injury history. Tore his ACL at Clemson, tore his ACL in the NFL. Deshaun has an injury history. Deshaun, even go to his days in Houston, part of that's because he played behind a terrible offensive line. Deshaun's taken some shots in his career. The Cleveland Browns, knowing they have a quarterback with an injury history, not only are we sitting here today and they have virtually no backup plan, the backup plan was in the building. And is that not something? Josh Dobbs was a Cleveland Brown in August. Josh Dobbs played the Hall of Fame game and some of the preseason for the Cleveland Browns months ago. They said, no, we're going to go with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Rookie. He may grow to be a nice player. I'm not going to sit up here and act like he's going to be terrible. We're going to go with PJ Walker. Cool story, XFL player, deserves to be in the NFL. Has worked hard, absolutely has earned the right to be an NFL quarterback. But they never really gave Josh Dobbs a chance. Never gave an opportunity to win the backup job. And they traded him, basically shipped him off to Arizona, made the most of what was there, who shipped him off to Minnesota, and the first team that gives Joshua Dobbs a legitimate chance to succeed in the NFL. Oh, what a surprise. He's doing excellent. The Vikings are on a 5-game winning streak and 2-0 with Dobbs behind center. It's Cleveland's inability to evaluate the position. In years past, they passed on quarterbacks like Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. This is what they do. It's what they've always done. The Super Bowl era, name the best Browns quarterback. Who is it? Tim Couch? Come on. Some organizations are incapable of identifying talent at the most important position, and that is Cleveland. It's a poorly run franchise, has been for decades. They got what they deserved. Deshaun, I feel bad for Deshaun. Like, whatever the off-field stuff, I don't root for guys to get hurt. I feel bad for Deshaun. I have zero sympathy for the Browns. Because in life, if there's an opportunity, a chance, something may or may not go wrong, how do you either adjust on the fly or do you have a backup plan? Both the Browns and the Jets had none. And you see where they're at today. See where Joshua Dobbs is doing in Minnesota. You don't think he could have helped the Browns win some games? Again, by the way, I think there's a great chance the Browns get in the playoffs. You just heard me lay out the numbers. They've got bad quarterback play all season, Deshaun or otherwise. And they're still 6-3. Myles Garrett is playing out of his mind. The Browns defense is doing the same. Jim Schwartz calling the plays. They're doing a great job. But if they had above average quarterback play, dare I say they were a contender. Nick Chubb's there. Amari Cooper's there. They got a good tight end. They got maybe the best offensive line in the sport, not named Philadelphia. But they didn't prepare. Then again, it's Cleveland. They never do. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.